Welcome to my channel, HFY Story Hub. The alien nurse dropped the illegal serum the moment the human's heart stopped. Then the dead man grabbed her wrist. Not weakly. Not blindly. Perfectly. His eyes snapped open with terrifying focus as alarms screamed through the underground medical bay. And every monitor around him exploded. Dr. Lyra Vey froze. Because humans were not supposed to survive the black neural serum. No species was. Especially not after death. The emergency lights turned crimson. Metal shutters slammed over the station windows one by one. Somewhere above the facility, artillery shook the moon's surface hard enough to crack dust from the ceiling. But Marcus Vale did not blink. He sat upright too fast. Breathing hard. Eyes locked directly onto Lyra. "Where," his voice rasped, "is my squad?" Lyra stepped back instinctively. That scared her more than the alarms. The serum should have left him confused. Violent. Broken. Instead, the human looked aware. Sharp. Dangerously alive. "You suffered catastrophic trauma," Lyra said carefully. "Your unit was caught in the collapse at Sector 9. Marcus stared at her. Fragments returned slowly. The screaming mountain. The tunnel collapsing. Fire. Blood. Corvin yelling his name. Then silence. Marcus looked down at himself. His chest was wrapped in synth fiber bandages glowing faint blue beneath the medical lights. He remembered steel piercing straight through his ribs. He remembered dying. "I was gone," he whispered. Lyra said nothing. That was answer enough. The room trembled again. Far away, another explosion rolled through the moon like distant thunder. Marcus swung his legs off the medical platform. The movement was smooth. Too smooth. Lyra's pulse quickened. "Do not stand," she ordered immediately. "Your nervous system is unstable." Marcus stood anyway, and the restraints attached to his arms snapped apart like cheap plastic. Both of them stared. Silence filled the room. Lyra felt cold fear crawl through her stomach. Humans were physically strong. The galaxy knew that. But not like this. Never like this. Marcus looked at the broken restraints. "What did you do to me?" Before Lyra could answer, the station intercom erupted. "All medical personnel report immediately. Breach detected in lower sectors. Repeat. Hostile incursion confirmed." The lights flickered violently. Then came the screams. Not distant. Close. Very close. Marcus turned toward the hallway instantly. Every instinct inside him sharpened. Footsteps. Gunfire. 3 corridors away. He could hear it. Lyra noticed his expression change. "You can track sound already," she whispered. Marcus looked back at her slowly. "What do you mean already?" A massive impact slammed somewhere nearby. The entire wall shook. Dust burst through ceiling vents. Then the security door at the far end of the room bent inward. Something heavy hit it again. Boom. Metal screamed. Boom. Another hit. Marcus moved without thinking. He grabbed the overturned surgical table and shoved Lyra behind it just as the door exploded inward. The creature that entered was not human. Tall. Armored. 4 glowing eyes burning beneath a combat mask. A Draxian raider. One of the mercenary species hired to clean battlefields and erase survivors. The alien spotted Lyra immediately. Medic located, it growled mechanically. Witnesses terminated. Its plasma rifle charged. Lyra's breath caught. Marcus moved first. Faster than thought. The Draxian fired. Marcus caught the alien's arm mid-shot. The plasma bolt blasted into the ceiling instead. The raider froze. So did Lyra. Humans were not fast enough to intercept plasma fire. Marcus barely understood what he had done himself. Everything felt slower suddenly. Clearer. The alien snarled and swung its secondary blade toward Marcus's throat. Marcus reacted instinctively. He drove his forehead into the creature's faceplate hard enough to crack it. The Draxian stumbled backward in shock. Marcus ripped the rifle free. Then paused. Because he realized something horrifying. He knew exactly where to shoot. Not from training. From instinct. The serum pulsed through his veins like liquid lightning. The world narrowed into movement angles and heartbeat rhythms. Marcus fired once. The blast punched through the raider's chest armor. The alien collapsed instantly. Silence returned. Smoke drifted upward slowly. Lyra stared at Marcus in disbelief. The human stood motionless, breathing hard, eyes wide. Marcus looked at his shaking hands. I couldn't even walk yesterday. You died yesterday, Lyra said quietly. He looked at her sharply, and for the first time since waking up, fear entered his face. Not fear of the enemy, fear of himself. Another explosion rocked the station. This time closer. Emergency lights shifted from red to black. Power failure. The station AI spoke calmly overhead. Warning. Reactor breach imminent. Evacuation recommended. Lyra immediately rushed toward a medical terminal. No, no, no. Marcus watched her hands fly across the controls. What's happening? The lower reactor was hit during the bombardment, she said quickly. If containment fails, this entire facility vaporizes. Marcus grabbed his armor from the equipment rack nearby. The plating was scorched and cracked from the battlefield. Yet somehow, seeing it grounded him. Soldier. Human. Still himself. At least he hoped so. Lyra suddenly stiffened. Oh no. What? She turned the monitor toward him. Security feeds filled the screen. Dozens of Draxian raiders were pouring into the station from breach tunnels. Not random. Targeted. Hunting. One feed zoomed toward a specific hallway. Medical Wing 7. This room. Marcus narrowed his eyes. They're coming for you. Lyra hesitated too long. That was answer enough. You used something illegal on me, Marcus said slowly. Her silence confirmed everything. Outside, distant screams echoed through the collapsing station. Marcus looked back at the dead raider on the floor. Then at Lyra. The alien medic looked calm on the outside. But her hands trembled slightly. Not for herself. For him. Why save me? Marcus asked quietly. Lyra met his gaze. And for one small second, all the professionalism vanished. Because humans do something no species in this galaxy understands, she whispered. Another violent boom interrupted her. The hallway lights outside suddenly died. Darkness swallowed the corridor. Then came heavy footsteps. The first Dominion soldier died before his weapon finished charging. Marcus moved through the smoke like instinct had taken control of his body. 1 second he stood beside Lyra. The next, he was already inside the enemy line. A plasma rifle fired. Marcus twisted sideways before the trigger fully clicked. The blast scorched empty air. The alien soldier barely had time to react before Marcus slammed the butt of the rifle into its faceplate hard enough to shatter bone underneath. The corridor exploded into chaos. Take the human alive! Commander Zyron roared. Too late. Marcus had already become something the Dominion did not understand. Another soldier charged with an electroblade. Marcus caught the alien's wrist mid-strike. Crack. The arm bent backward unnaturally. The soldier screamed. Marcus ripped the blade free and spun violently, striking the next attacker across the throat. Blue blood sprayed across the emergency lights. Lyra stared from behind the overturned surgical platform, frozen between fear and disbelief. Humans were strong. Yes. The galaxy knew that. But this was impossible. Marcus should barely be standing. Instead, he moved like the battlefield itself was whispering warnings directly into his mind. Every shot missed him by centimeters. Every enemy movement felt predictable. The serum inside him was adapting. Evolving. Commander Zyron slowly stepped through the smoke. Tall silver armor. Cold yellow eyes. And for the first time in years, the Dominion commander looked nervous. You stabilized it, Zyron said quietly. Marcus kept the rifle aimed at his chest. Stabilized what? The black neural serum. Lyra's face lost all color. Marcus noticed instantly. He glanced toward her. You told me it was experimental. It was, Lyra whispered. Zyron gave a dark laugh. Experimental. Medic, that serum destroyed entire laboratories. The corridor lights flickered violently. Distant explosions shook the underground facility. Reactor alarms screamed overhead. But nobody moved. Marcus slowly lowered the plasma rifle. Start talking. Lyra swallowed hard. The serum was created during the Dominion Wars, she admitted. A neural enhancer designed to increase reaction speed, awareness, combat adaptability. Super soldiers, Marcus muttered. Yes, Zyron answered coldly. And every species that received it died. Marcus frowned. Then why didn't I? Silence. That silence frightened Lyra more than the battle. Zyron stared directly at Marcus. Because humans are not reacting to the serum. He paused. They are compatible with it. The words hit harder than gunfire. Marcus felt something cold settle in his stomach. No, Lyra whispered immediately. That's impossible. Is it? Zyron replied. He gestured toward the dead soldiers surrounding them. He survived fatal injuries. Another pause. He processes combat faster than military AI. Another. And his nervous system is still evolving. Marcus suddenly felt heat pulse beneath his skin. Not pain. Energy. Violent energy. His heartbeat slowed unnaturally. The world sharpened again. He could hear damaged wires sparking behind the walls. Could hear distant footsteps 3 corridors away. Could hear Lyra's pulse racing. Marcus looked horrified. What is happening to me? Nobody answered immediately. Because nobody truly knew. Then the station shook violently. A deep metallic groan echoed beneath the floor. The reactor core was failing. The AI voice returned overhead. Warning. Containment failure in 6 minutes. Commander Zyron slowly stepped backward. His soldiers raised their weapons again. We are leaving, he said calmly. But the human comes with us. Marcus smiled faintly. That sounds like a terrible plan. Zyron's expression darkened. You think this power belongs to you? Marcus tightened his grip on the rifle. I think I'm getting tired of people trying to kill me. The Dominion troops opened fire instantly. Marcus reacted before thought. Everything slowed again. Plasma bolts crawled through the air like burning comets. Marcus moved between them. Not fast. Perfect. The first soldier never saw him arrive. Marcus drove the electroblade straight through the alien's chest armor. Spun. Fired once. Another body hit the ground. The corridor erupted into panic. One Dominion trooper screamed, "He's predicting movement." No, Zyron growled. His eyes locked onto Marcus with growing fear. He's remembering it. Marcus heard that. And something deep inside him reacted. A flash exploded through his mind. Not memory. Something older. Burning ships falling through space. Human soldiers standing against impossible armies. Alien worlds in flames. A symbol. Black armor marked with Earth's forgotten crest. Then the vision vanished. Marcus staggered. Pain slammed into his skull. Lyra rushed toward him immediately. Marcus. He grabbed her arm hard. What did I just see? Before she could answer, Zyron spoke quietly. The truth. Marcus looked up slowly. The commander's voice had changed. No arrogance. Only caution now. The galaxy did not fear humanity because you were violent, Zyron said. Another explosion shook the station. Emergency lights died briefly. Darkness swallowed the corridor for 1 terrible second. Then red light returned. Zyron continued. We feared humans because your species almost conquered the stars. Silence. Marcus stared at him. Lyra looked equally horrified. That's impossible, she whispered. No, Zyron replied softly. It was erased. The reactor alarms suddenly became deafening. Containment failure in 4 minutes. Smoke poured from ceiling vents now. The station was dying. Marcus's pulse hammered violently. The strange visions returned in fragments. Battles. Screaming stars. Humans marching through fire. And every instinct inside him whispered the same terrifying thing. You were built for this. Marcus backed away slowly. No. Commander Zyron watched him carefully. The serum did not create your abilities, human. Another pause. It unlocked them. Then the floor beneath the medical wing cracked open. Metal screamed apart. The entire corridor collapsed into darkness. And Marcus grabbed Lyra just before both of them fell into the abyss below. Marcus hit the collapsing elevator shaft hard enough to crack steel beneath him. But he did not let go of Lyra. Even while falling. Even while debris rained around them like burning meteors. The world became noise and darkness. Metal screamed. Emergency lights spun wildly past. Then Marcus slammed one arm into an exposed maintenance rail. The impact nearly tore his shoulder apart. His body stopped instantly. Lyra cried out as she swung violently beneath him, hanging over a drop so deep the bottom vanished into darkness. For one terrible second, neither moved. The shaft groaned around them. Pieces of burning debris fell endlessly below. Lyra looked upward slowly. Marcus was holding the entire weight with one arm. Blood ran down his fingers. Human fingers. Shaking, but refusing to release her. Marcus, she whispered. His face twisted with pain. Please tell me there's a ladder. Lyra looked around quickly. Half the shaft had collapsed inward. Fires burned several levels below. There, she breathed, spotting an emergency hatch barely 3 meters away. 3 meters. Normally impossible. Not anymore. Marcus stared at the hatch. Then the strange feeling returned. That unnatural clarity. His heartbeat slowed. The world sharpened. Every angle. Every distance. Every movement. He swung them sideways. The rail screamed under the force. Marcus slammed his boots against the maintenance hatch hard enough to dent it inward. Again. Again. The hatch burst open. Both of them crashed into a dark service corridor just as the shaft behind them collapsed completely. The roar echoed through the station like thunder. Marcus rolled onto his back, breathing hard. Lyra stared at him silently. You should not be alive, she whispered. Marcus laughed weakly. I'm starting to hear that a lot. But inside, he was terrified, because surviving no longer felt difficult. It felt natural. Somewhere deeper in the facility, heavy alarms continued screaming. Reactor detonation in 3 minutes. Lyra immediately pushed herself upright. We need to move now. Marcus stood beside her. The corridor around them was ancient compared to the medical wing above. Old steel walls. Forgotten Dominion symbols. Dust untouched for decades. Then Marcus noticed something strange. The hallway lights were activating ahead of him. One by one. Like the station recognized him. Lyra noticed too. Fear crossed her face instantly. No. Marcus frowned. What? She stepped closer to one of the glowing wall panels. Ancient symbols flickered across its surface. Then the panel suddenly changed. English text appeared. Marcus froze. Because alien systems did not use human language. Access confirmed. Welcome back. Marcus felt cold spread through his chest. What the hell is this place? Before Lyra could answer, the corridor trembled violently again. A blast door nearby slowly opened by itself. Dust poured outward from the darkness beyond. And something enormous waited inside. Marcus stepped forward carefully. The chamber beyond was massive. Circular. Hidden beneath the station. Rows of dead machines lined the walls like sleeping giants. Black armored suits stood inside cracked containment pods. Human armored suits. Not modern military designs. Older. Far more advanced. Lyra stopped breathing. This, she whispered shakily, this cannot exist. Marcus approached one of the shattered pods slowly. A faded emblem remained visible beneath layers of dust. Earth. But not the Earth he knew. Different symbol. Different history. Then he saw the skeleton inside the armor. Human. The suit still held a rifle in its dead hands. Marcus felt another violent flash slam into his mind. Stars burning. Alien fleets retreating. Humans marching through impossible fire. A voice echoing across space itself. If humanity falls, the galaxy falls with us. Marcus staggered backward. The visions were becoming stronger. Realer. Lyra grabbed him before he collapsed. Marcus. He looked at her desperately. Why do I know this place? Lyra's expression broke completely. Because the Dominion lied to everyone. She turned slowly toward the ancient chamber. This wasn't a medical station originally. Marcus stared at the armored soldiers around them. Then realization hit. No. Lyra nodded weakly. It was a human military facility. Silence crushed the room. Marcus looked around again. Every machine. Every weapon. Every wall. Human. Hidden beneath an alien moon for centuries. But humanity never reached deep space before the Alliance, Marcus whispered. That is what the galaxy teaches, Lyra replied quietly. Another explosion shook the chamber overhead. Dust rained down. The truth is far worse. Marcus turned toward her slowly. Lyra hesitated. Like saying the words aloud terrified her. Then she finally spoke. Thousands of years ago, humanity became the most feared civilization in known space. Marcus stared at her. No. Yes. Her voice trembled now. The Dominion erased your history after the Extinction Wars. Marcus felt sick. Extinction. The galaxy united against Earth, Lyra whispered. Not because humans were cruel. Another pause. Because humans adapted too quickly. Marcus looked at his shaking hands. The serum. The visions. The impossible reflexes. Everything suddenly connected. The black neural serum was never alien technology. It was human. Recovered. Reverse-engineered. Buried. They were trying to recreate us, Marcus said quietly. Lyra looked away. Yes. Suddenly the chamber lights turned blood red. A cold mechanical voice echoed around them. Genetic match confirmed. Archive error detected. Marcus froze. The ancient machines around the room slowly powered on. One by one. Heavy footsteps echoed in the darkness. Then an enormous figure emerged from the far end of the chamber. Black armor. Towering height. Glowing white eyes. Not alive. A machine. An ancient human war machine. Its gaze locked directly onto Marcus. Then it spoke. Commander. The entire chamber trembled. Humanity requires you once again. The ancient war machine knelt before Marcus Vale, and the entire underground chamber shook with the sound. Dust rolled across the floor. Old engines awakened inside the walls. One by one, forgotten human systems came alive after thousands of years of silence. Lyra stepped backward slowly. Her breathing had become uneven. Because nothing in the galaxy was supposed to exist like this anymore. The machine's white eyes remained locked onto Marcus. Commander identified, it said again. Defense Protocol Eternity reactivated. Marcus stared at the towering construct in disbelief. I'm not a commander. The machine paused. Then answered coldly. You carry the bloodline authorization of Earth's final fleet. A violent tremor ripped through the station overhead. The reactor was moments from exploding. Warning sirens screamed non-stop now. But Marcus barely heard them. His mind was collapsing under impossible truths. Humanity had once ruled the stars. The galaxy had erased that history. And somehow, his blood connected to it. Lyra moved beside him carefully. Marcus, she whispered, we need to leave now. The machine turned toward her instantly. Its glowing eyes scanned her body. Alien medic detected. Lyra stiffened. Assessment. The machine continued. A long pause followed. Then, individual preserved authorized human genetic asset. Marcus blinked. Did it just thank you? Unclear, Lyra answered nervously. The machine suddenly extended one massive arm toward the center of the chamber. Ancient floor panels opened slowly. A holographic star map exploded into existence above them. Hundreds of systems appeared. Then most vanished beneath red warning symbols. Destroyed. Burned. Dead. Marcus felt cold horror spread through him. This was human territory? Yes, the machine answered. Its voice echoed like distant thunder. The human expansion lasted 4 centuries before coalition extinction events. Lyra stared at the hologram silently. Even she looked shaken now. Entire sectors of space had once belonged to humanity. Then Marcus noticed something worse. The remaining active human zones still existed. Hidden. Sleeping. Waiting. The war never ended, he whispered. Correct, the machine replied. A sudden explosion rocked the upper levels violently. The chamber ceiling cracked. Burning debris crashed downward. The reactor was collapsing. Lyra grabbed Marcus's arm urgently. If this core detonates, the entire moon dies. Marcus looked toward the hologram again. Then toward the machine. What happens if the Dominion finds this place? The machine answered instantly. Human extinction resumes. Silence. Marcus closed his eyes briefly. Just a soldier. That was all he had ever wanted to be. Not this. Not humanity's forgotten past. Not some symbol. But then he remembered the battlefield. The wounded soldiers he carried. The fear in Lyra's voice. The Dominion hunting survivors. And suddenly the answer became simple. Humans protected people. Even when it hurt. Especially when it hurt. Marcus opened his eyes again. What do we need to do? The machine turned toward him fully. Evacuate. Then awaken the fleet. Lyra's eyes widened. There's an actual fleet. 23 vessels remain operational beneath the moon. Marcus laughed once in disbelief. Of course there are. The station shook again. This time the floor split open behind them. Fire burst through the cracks. The countdown voice thundered overhead. Reactor detonation in 90 seconds. Marcus immediately grabbed Lyra's hand. Show us the fastest exit. The machine moved instantly. Massive armored footsteps shook the chamber as hidden pathways opened ahead of them. They ran through collapsing corridors while ancient systems awakened around them. Emergency lights shifted from red to white. Human symbols illuminated the walls. And somewhere deep beneath the moon, engines began rumbling awake after centuries of silence. Marcus could feel it. Like something sleeping inside humanity itself had opened its eyes again. They reached the surface hangar just as Dominion dropships descended through the storm above. Commander Zyron stood waiting with armed soldiers surrounding the exit platform. But this time, he looked afraid. His eyes locked onto the machine behind Marcus. No, Zyron whispered. The ancient war machine stepped forward. Towering. Silent. Terrifying. The Dominion soldiers immediately raised weapons. The machine scanned them once. Then spoke a single sentence. Threat assessment complete. Every human weapon buried beneath the moon activated simultaneously. The ground exploded around the Dominion forces. Hidden cannons rose from the rock. Ancient drones burst from underground silos. The night sky lit up with blue human fire. The Dominion soldiers panicked instantly. Their formation shattered. Marcus grabbed Zyron before the commander could escape. You knew what humans were, Marcus growled. Zyron stared at him with genuine fear now. We tried to bury your species, he admitted shakily. Because every time humanity survives. His voice trembled. The galaxy changes. Marcus released him slowly, then looked toward the burning battlefield around them. Dominion ships were already retreating. Running. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy feared humans again. The moon began collapsing beneath their feet. The reactor core finally detonated deep underground. A massive shockwave erupted toward the surface. We need to go, Lyra shouted. The ancient machine pointed toward a rising ship platform nearby. A black triangular vessel emerged from beneath the moon itself. Sleek. Massive. Alive with white light. Ancient human technology. Marcus stared at it in awe. The machine looked toward him one final time. Humanity awaits your command. Then it turned back toward the collapsing battlefield and charged directly into the explosion. Holding the line. Buying them seconds. Marcus felt his chest tighten. Even machines had chosen sacrifice. Human sacrifice. He grabbed Lyra's hand tightly as they sprinted toward the ship. The shockwave tore across the surface behind them. Fire consumed the moon. The ancient vessel sealed shut just as the explosion swallowed the hangar whole. Then, silence. Marcus stood inside the dark ship, breathing heavily.